Hey everyone, this is Martin, and I'm continuing the series on creating sustainable income, and I'm up in the garden area today where we've been working on trying to establish some self-sufficiency on this place. If you're interested in that kind of thing, look up some of those videos. Anyway, if I could, before I get started on this, if you could hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, turn the notifications to all. And I'm not trying to sell you anything, so don't get uptight about that. We're just talking about how to create sustainable income on your property. And I should, before we get started, I should mention also that this series started out to be one that was geared more towards people that are living on homesteads or off-grid, kind of a backwoods lifestyle. But I've noticed that there's a lot more people coming into the videos and watching the videos than just that group, and that's fine. It all is universal, okay? It applies across the board to just about anything. It was just originally directed towards the homestead, off-grid type people, so who want to create more income on their property and not quite sure how to go about doing that. And the other thing is that I'm going to continue on with some of the important principles that you have to adopt in your life in order to achieve this kind of a thing. And what I'm talking about is building income around things that are income producing things that are passive sources of income, where you're not doing a lot of work for them, but the money is coming in, and then multiple sources of income where you have income coming from multiple directions. And you can only do that if you kind of break away from the mindset of working by the hour. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about a little bit today, is that most of if you've watched some of the other videos, most of it involves that whole idea of multiple sources of income and passive income. And to get that, you have to, using the quote that I've used a lot in this series, is you have to find ways to earn income where money is coming in whether you work or not, and really money comes in whether you sleep or not. And it's just it's making money from things that don't require you to exchange your time for money. And so breaking that habit is one of the things, or breaking that mindset is one of the things that's really difficult for a lot of people to do, because we're geared around that. I mean, we're taught pretty much our whole lives to get a job and work hard, and basically what it's doing is that philosophy, or that mindset, is telling you need to exchange your time for money, okay? And the more your time is worth, or the more your skills are worth, hopefully the more money that you'll get. And the trouble with that is that you can make money that way, and some people can make a lot of money that way, but the problem is that it consumes your time. So if you're like down here with us, we're trying to do a lot of things around here on this piece of property that we're on, and it does not allow me to be able to go out and work 8 hours a day someplace just so I can get a paycheck, so I can come down here to pay to do what to live here. Okay, so that would not work for me, and it's something that my wife and I adopted into our lives years ago, probably 20 years ago, when I first started running across the concept that assets put money into your pocket whether you work or not, liabilities take money out of your pocket whether you work or not. And so we set a course for ourselves to start building up assets, things that put money in our pocket whether we're working or not. And basically for the last dozen or years or so, or actually probably close to 20 years, that's the kind of income that we've sustained ourselves on. And it allows us to come down and do these kind of things down here, like I'm up here in the garden right now, and without having to go out there and earn the money day after day after day after day. And that comes to us in various forms. I mean, you've heard us talk a lot about our cabin and campsite rentals, and that really does produce the recreation properties. When we started that, does produce the bulk of our income, but we have other little things that we do that bring money in as well. And the key to it all is that all of it comes in whether I'm out there working on it or not. So that's what you're trying to get to. So here's the whole point of that, and that is that if you are conditioning yourself to look at income sources or income streams, and they hinge in any way upon how much time that you invest in doing those, then you're never going to be able to get past working and exchanging your time for money, whether it's for an employer or even if you're self-employed. Now, you have more flexibility when you're self-employed, but still, if you are building your income structure around the idea that, if I put in 10 hours today or 8 hours today or 12 hours today, whether it's welding or whether it's tree cutting or it's sawmilling or whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is, what kind of a business you're running or carpentry work or handyman or anything like that, as long as you're calculating it all on, if I don't get out there and work, then the money stops. And you've got to really kind of break free of that. And it's hard for people like that, which I am one of those, or was one of those. I grew up under that. I grew up having I believe, a good work ethic on, my labor and being on time and being prompt and skilled at what I do. But the trouble is that it always meant I had to go out there and put in 10 hours or 8 hours a day or something like that in order to collect that paycheck. If I quit doing that, the money quit coming in. Okay. And so you have to get away from thinking that way. So if you're thinking of income sources and they simply exchange time for money again, you're going to constantly be up against that. You're never going to be able to break out of that mindset and that life of having to work and exchange time for money. Now, here's the hard part. The hard part is that, as I mentioned in some other videos, when you start to look at other sources, it may take, to add a source of income that you don't have to exchange your time for money on, it may take you a while to ramp that one up. Okay. It may take 6 months. It may take a year, depending on the size and scope of it, but it may take a while. And if you're the kind that thinks to yourself, okay, I'm putting in 8 hours today and I'm going to put in 40 hours a week on trying to get this thing up and going. It may take me 3 months to get it up and going. I'm going to have hundreds of hours invested in this thing and I haven't seen any return on that. Okay. You have to understand that that's part of the game. Okay. That's part of what you need to learn to do, is that you need to invest of your time and your energies, your skills, your talents, and all of that kind of stuff into something that when you're done setting it up, it starts running income that you don't have to be there day in and day out in order to do it. Now, you may have to monitor it. You may have to kind of make sure to oversee what's happening so that it continues to work correctly. But as far as you need to get something to the point where once you've established it, the income comes in whether you really put any time into that or not. And that's a hard thing to break if everything you look at is related to how many hours do I have into it versus how much money I'm getting out of it. Because you really will have to learn to invest of yourself into those things a lot of times before they start producing, and then then it may be quite a bit before you get it there. Last week I did a video on the Amazon affiliate account kind of a deal where you get commissions off of Amazon products when people buy them if they go through your video or your affiliate link. And I'll put a video or a link for that one up here in the corner so you can see what that is if you don't know what I'm talking about. But that's another one of those things. I mean, that's a fairly simple one because there's not a big heavy investment in it, but you do have to take some time to build it up. Once you get it built up, you can kind of just walk away from it. And an example of that is that this morning, that's one of the first things I do is I go through and I check the status of all my stuff that's happening out there. And the Amazon thing is one of them. And so I'm not even going to tell you what people bought because it's almost embarrassing. But someone, they had obviously entered through one of my links to get there because they got a commission on the sale. And they bought a bunch of stuff that I would be embarrassed to try to sell, but they did nevertheless. So, but that's how that works. Okay, you spend time getting it set up. And then once you get it set up, it will sit there and sort of roll on autopilot the whole time. And those are the kind of things that you're after. And so people get a little, I guess, frustrated when I start talking about principles rather than actual income producing ideas. But I'm trying to balance them out about 50-50 because you really can't. You can take and apply yourself to the income producing principles, but unless the activities, but unless you understand the principles behind why it's so important to change have a mind shift change on how you go about it, a lot of times you're just going to be spinning your wheels in the same old rut the whole time and never get out of that. So you really have to understand that it's a marathon type of a race, not a sprint, and you have to get a game plan for how to start achieving those things, and then start picking out income producing sources that fit up with the passive type of income, or where you can stack multiple sources of income up on top of your bank account. Okay, so anyway, that's the whole idea today. You have to invest of yourself. You have to break free of the mindset of exchanging your time for money, and you have to start finding those things that will create money, whether you're working or not, whether you're sleeping or not, whether you're on vacation or not, whether you just want to hang out in the woods for the next month and do nothing else but do that. Now, next week I am planning to go into our campsite and cabin rental thing, because that has been a big one. And if you're living in a city and you're not related to the whole homestead, backwoods, off-grid kind of a thing, then that probably won't apply to you very much. But if you are, and you have the space to do it, that if I had to start from scratch, that's exactly where I would start, and we're going to go into that one next week. So I hope this was beneficial to you. I hope you found value in it. I hope you not got frustrated with the fact that it's a principle and not an activity. And we'll see you next week. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like and a share, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell. See you next time.